Welcome to one of the most hyped and anticipated IFSC events of the entire calendar. We're in Chamonix in France. My name is Matt Groom and I'm joined by Albert Oak in the commentary box. Albert, look, let's explain who you are because you're a man of many, many talents. I mean, how many athletes do you coach at the moment?
Oh, if you count across the entire universe, probably over 60. And so I created a program online through Instagram, Power of the Internet, that I offered free coaching to anyone. And so I have athletes in Nepal, Pakistan, and several athletes in the US, and we have athletes in Australia, and that's actually the country I'm representing. I was coaching Grace Crowley and Chadwick Horton. They did very well for themselves. So.
Awesome. Well, some of these names then are going to be familiar to you. And you mentioned, to me anyway, Emma Hunt and Sam Watson. Emma Hunt's there on screen. We're looking at the qualification results. This took place last night. Albert, first of all, how were those athletes for you? And then how was the entire field? Because it was a quick one out there.
Aside nerve-wracking, because I am just so stressed. I feel like a parent if they were watching their own child competing. It seemed like athletes initially struggled with the texture of the wall, but afterwards they were able to perform at a very high level, and we saw several personal bests broken.
Yeah, it seemed to be one of those days. It was up and down depending on the weather conditions a little bit, because we saw some athletes not getting close to their good times, and then people like Julian from New Zealand, he broke New Zealand national record. We've got Ludovico Matteo Zuloni in the final tonight, who beat the European speed final. So it is possible.
Yeah, and one of the more interesting things that we can sort of note globally is that every region has now officially broke 6 for the men's side. Josh Bruins was sort of the last one to do it for Africa. So it seemed like once the shade came down, the texture of the wall improved, and the athletes that were experienced were able to adapt and perform their best. We saw many personal bests. We even saw a sub-5.
Yes, we did. Came close to a world record. Everyone kind of panics when that happens because there's a lot extra work that happens to go on. We didn't quite see it. It was close. Still nowhere coming quite close to that career wall that had such good texture, such good friction. And as we look through the list of names, let me explain to you what goes on here. So the athletes have 2 runs. The best time is taken. If you full start, that's it, the end of your competition. So it's a bit brutal in the qualifying round. We whittle everyone down to tonight's finals. And then in the finals, it changes from a race against the clock to a race against your opponent. It's a straight fight between athletes. Whoever wins moves forward. Whoever loses, that's the end of their competition. And of course, we'll be going through all those rules as we get going. And Albert, look at Mont Blanc there, hanging out in the sunshine. Pretty special place to be, right?
It is absolutely gorgeous. The last time I was here was maybe 15 years ago. And being back here again with a different context as a speed coach, and now I get to commentate, it's probably a dream come true that I've been waiting for several years of my life.
Well, I think your internet fans I've been nagged by many of your internet fans to get you in here, so I'm so happy that you are finally joining me. And these are the athletes we're going to be watching. Of course, Sam Watson there in the middle. I would imagine you'll be feeling a bit nervous.
I am a little bit biased towards Sam Watson, as I have done a lot of work with him and we have done a lot of coaching. In fact, earlier today we were playing chess with 2 of the French athletes, Manon Lebon and Aurélia Saurisson. They taught us all the pieces of chess in French.
See, I had an image there of Sam versus 2 French athletes, but it doesn't sound like that was the case.
No, it was a very collaborative effort, and it was very useful because, you know, you need to take the edge off. So playing chess is a great way to keep yourself mentally active.
Well, we will be talking a lot about the mental side to speed climbing because it's such a huge part of this sport. You know, these athletes are in the best shape possible. They're very strong, and really it comes down to who can hold it together on the day, and that's what we'll be seeing later on. I just wanted to mention as well, before we got going, there's been a lot of talk on the IFSC social media pages and from the climbing community at large about the issue of eating disorders and red S within climbing. Now, it's something that the IFSC are looking at, they're discussing, and they've talked to a lot of people around this issue. There is a statement from the IFSC on their website you can go check out. Please go and do that, but just be aware the IFSC are aware of the issue and they are talking to everyone about it.
Hoping for a productive solution.
All right, well, if you're just joining us, welcome to Chamonix for the Speed World Cup. My name is Matt Groom. I'm joined by Albert Oak in the commentary box. And Albert, our first 2 athletes are out.
Extremely excited. We have a Poland versus Italy matchup, and they have PBs that are a little bit off, but they'll obviously have a great race towards each other.
Yeah, Natalia Kalichka on the left. She won gold last week in Vila versus Giulia Randi on the right from Italy. Our first race. Fastest women on earth are about to put on a show. The stadium will drop into silence as we wait for the starting buzzers.
Ready?
And it's a good start for both of them. Natalia, though, got away cleaner, and she makes full use of that lead as Julia Randy slips at the bottom, a 7.020, and Natalia just cruising there through that.
It was incredible. I always appreciate when the athletes finish the run, regardless if they have slipped, because it shows a lot of sportsmanship and pride.
I'm glad you said that. I want to ask you about that. But do you coach them to specifically slow down at that moment? Because it would be awful if they fell.
I think, like, I should coach them that, but I think it's so inherent that if you know the other person falls, like, control it, don't mess. There was a historic event actually at the USA Team Trials where Noah Bracci versus Zach Hammer, they both slipped and missed the pad. So that was like one of the first times I've ever seen a rerun where they just like, oh, what do we have to do? So,
yeah. Something I've discovered about comp climbing is it will happen at some point.
Yeah.
Like everything happens. Right, next two races, Sengong Wang on the left versus Shaxin Zhang on the right.
Two incredible Chinese athletes, and I saw them in practice in Villeneuve. They are very focused and intense in practice as well, just as much as you see them on the stage. So we'll see a great race, I'm sure.
Yeah, the Chinese team came out with a bang last year. Let's see what they can do here in Chamonix. Zhang on the right, Wang on the left. Two hands on the start holds, one hand on the pad, one on the wall. And it's a clean start, but Zhang is ahead and pulls further ahead as Wang slips. Little moment from Zhang, and now look at Wang coming back at her, but it is going to be Zhang who takes victory. And that was a back and forth race.
Kind of close, yeah. One of the interesting things with the female beta is that they do variations of the Tomoe skips. So some of them will match hold 5 if you're counting 1 through 20, and some of them will pull through. But I think a lot of the female athletes are getting stronger and/or just realize that pulling through is more efficient. So we see that these athletes are performing it at the highest level.
It's fascinating to me when you see athletes shave off the microseconds by little adjustments in beta. And presumably you're working on that all the time in training because it's one route. You're just trying to make it as fast as possible.
When you sort of talk about bouldering or lead climbing, you often mention micro beta, and it's like, oh wait, these are all jugs. How different could it be? There's extreme micro beta, and you'll see some athletes, especially Matteo Zerloni. He's interesting because he's extremely accurate and deliberate about his placements, and all these athletes are very, very accurate.
All right, well, next race, Emma Hunt on the left in the USA, going through her ritual. Dai Nu on the right from China, just in her zone. Look at that focus.
Yeah, always curious what Emma says.
Everyone has been saying that to me. I want to know now. She won't tell me.
Good.
Ready? Yeah, I hope she doesn't. All right, here we go. And they're off clean. Emma Hunt had a slower start, but now she's coming back towards the middle of the route. We'll watch Dai Nu on the right. It might be Emma Hunt's at the top, and it is.
Incredible.
What a race from Emma. It looked like she was losing that all the way until the final sector.
Yeah. Her top section beta is very, very, very innovative for female side. However, we did see it very popular last year from the Indonesians, and they sort of pioneered introducing that.
So Emma's method, just break it down a little bit more. So where does that get specific to Emma?
So initially her start sequence is sort of the old school start. That's been around for so many years. But right here, matching hold 11, going into the Indonesian top, that's colloquially named, is very unique because she's sort of like the only one. There is a New Zealand athlete, Sarah Tetzlaff, I believe I'm pronouncing it correctly, and she also does it, but an extended version of it. So it's interesting that the match on 11 is such a prominent piece of beta for all these athletes now, and I think a lot of females will start moving towards it.
And there we go, the future of speed for us as Emma Hunt unleashes herself on the wall. Rajia Salsabilia versus Jimin Jong from Korea on the right. So Indonesia versus Korea. And that Indonesian team has been so strong throughout the years. We're expecting good performances here.
Jimin Jong's coach in Korea calls me often on video, so we discuss beta.
Excellent. Well, I want to see it now. You can tell us all the breakdown. Here we go. Women match the wall. We wait for the buzzers. And at the moment, it's Jimin Jong ahead as we approach the halfway point. Little slip from Rajia there. In the air, it's going to be... Oh, it's not. Rajia came from somewhere.
Wow.
I was literally just about to say, I think it's Jimin Jong, and then watch the thing turn green.
That's when you say it was truly defined in the air. Incredible, incredible. Good fight, good fight.
Well, what a start to the speed finals here in Chamonix.
Speed is so interesting, it's so volatile, and you just really never know what's going to happen until the buzzer's done.
Well, let's watch this. Something happened at the top of the
frames?
wall.
Wow.
Oh, I mean, I couldn't tell.
Yeah, like how many blinks is that? I think it's already over.
Okay, next race, Desert Madre on the left of your screen versus Victoire Andrea on the right. There's Victoire there from France.
She's quite a bit taller, so you'll see definitely sort of a more extended sequence towards the top where Desak does. So there's colloquial names for a lot of these betas. She does sort of like the Polish drop knee beta where she turns sideways and just right foot drop knees, drop knee, drop knee, drop knee. There's definitely colloquial sections of the route as well. We have the start, we have the ladder, middle dyno, and top. So
I'm glad you've given that top a name because I don't know what I've been calling it for a long time, but it's such a strange motion.
It's aesthetic to watch.
It is, yeah. It's like a cantering horse. That's what I think of it as.
Crawling sideways.
Yes, exactly. All right, Victoire Andrea on the right, Desert Madre on the left. And it's a full start from Desert. So immediately the buzzers go. The timing pad released too early. Victoire will progress. Desert will leave us. What a shame for her.
Yeah, we generally have like a bittersweet taste in our mouth when we see that, but comes down to milliseconds. And that was a 0.98. Whereas the legal limit is 0.1, or 0.098, and legal limit is 0.1, so extremely close.
Well, she'll be back. We know how good she is. She is the comeback queen on the wall usually, but this was the full start.
So close.
Can you see a full start when it happens?
When I'm watching athletes that I work with directly, I almost can tell. Like last weekend when Sam false started, I knew he was kind of going to false start because his swings were off. And so the pad and the timing system for speed is interesting since you can create movement, whereas other sports in track, if you move, that's called a false start. And so a lot of the athletes sort of abuse that mechanic and use a swing to create momentum before they move. But his swings were off, and I was like, I know he's not going to precisely get there.
All right, we'll keep an eye on these swings. Capucine Biglioni on the left, Lisson Gautron on the right. Two French teammates will face off. And the crowd will go absolutely insane in a minute. The stadium packed here in Chamonix. That's a good start from both the French athletes, but Biglioni has a massive slip in the middle. Lisson's going to take this at the top. What a comeback, though, from Capucine Biglioni, but it wasn't to be too big a slip down low.
I really thought she was going to pull it back. Yeah.
Yeah, she found something in the top, but it was just a little bit out of touch.
You can see these two athletes are matching the hold 11 after the dyno, so it's really interesting to see the innovative French, and I think the German girl, Franzi Ritter, is also doing it, so it's getting more popular. I think you'll see it a lot more. I've always been a proponent that any of the female athletes who are tall enough can definitely do what the males are doing because they're strong enough.
And what was the reason they weren't doing it? Just because it was the male's way of doing it and it was just not looked at, or what?
I think it's just like a weird, confirmation bias where it's like, oh, well, if everyone else is doing the other way and they're succeeding, why can't I just do it? But yeah, if the guys are doing it, why not the girls? Girls are just as strong.
Exactly. Someone has to step outside of the box, show a beater as possible, and everyone will follow.
I love it.
Yeah. All right, well, Alexandra Kaluchka on the left-hand side against her teammate, Patricia Hudziak on the right.
Absolutely two powerhouses from Poland.
Yeah, there's a lot of muscle going on this stage right now as we wait. Penultimate race before we go over to the men's side of things.
She has a very intense startup.
I would hate to be that cameraman. Here we go, Patricia on the right, Alexandra on the left. Both off clean and both absolutely neck and neck, but a huge slip from Alexandra means she's got a lot of work to do in the top of the section, but it's going to be Patricia. No, it's not!
Wow.
Look at Alexandra. How did she pull that one out?
That was within the top section. Wow. It's interesting, a lot of my athletes, I focus heavily on the top section, and you can kind of see when if you have a good top section, you can pull it out.
That was an amazing comeback. I mean, I called it, I should really learn not to do this. I called that in the air for Patricia, but the comeback, there was a big slip down low. Found something in the top, and then in the air, stole it away at the last millisecond.
Incredible. It's very interesting when you see these speed athletes, they're so strong, but they're really coordinated. And you can definitely tell with Kalushka sisters, they're extremely coordinated and sort of see them like scurrying. I believe that's like an adjective you've used it before, the scurrying style. And
I use many words, my friend.
That's one of my favorites.
Not all of them make sense, so that's okay. Right, Leslie Romero. There she is from Spain. This is
correct. This is her first IFSC final?
Yes, it could be. She's coming through that sort of youth ranks for quite a while. I remember seeing her in Dallas. Super, super strong athlete, exciting. So let's see what she can do here. 7.3 versus 7.05. That's PBs on paper. Good start from both of the women, and look at Romero on the right, but a big slip is going to put her behind. Another one. Nura will take the victory. A good fight from her.
Very classy finishing in style, regardless what happens. You know, fight to the end. Always have to. It's part of like the spirit of speed climbing.
Well, as we've just seen in the previous race, like it matters. You can come from behind in this.
Yeah.
Well, an exciting beginning for the women's competition.
That bracket was slightly predictable, but also slightly unpredictable in certain sections. Man, and one of the interesting things on hold 7 is that you'll see virtually every athlete, except for maybe the taller athletes like Basa doing their extended beta, they step on the very corner of the holds. And initially when you're coaching an athlete and you tell them step there, they will never trust it. And then once you start doing it, you'll almost never slip off of it. So it's very incredible how accurate, and I have to keep on expressing how important it is for speed climbing.
I mean, trust your feet. That was the first thing I was told when I started climbing on a lead wall, and I guess it's the same with speed. You have to believe.
Now, I know you did try the speed wall.
I did.
Against Caden Reedy, I believe, in Dallas.
Yes, I think I might have just beaten him.
Yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you remember your time?
I can't, but it was probably sub 5. But it was a long time ago.
Sounds about right. I think there's a video on it, so maybe I'll have to double check.
Have a look on YouTube. Prove me wrong.
What were your thoughts about that route?
I mean, I think speed climbing is incredible, and I've got to know it over the last couple of years. And I think for me, what's happened is I've got such a respect for the athletes who do it, because the intensity of the training, the travel, all of that every competitor has to deal with. But for speed, it can all just be over, as we've seen in a full start. And to me, that blows my mind how you mentally keep that together. So yeah, super impressive. I mean, for you, similar kind of thing, this mental game side of it, because it's a huge part of the sport.
It's very interesting since I'm a competitor as well on the U.S. circuit. Hopefully next year you'll see me in the athlete lounge.
Better.
So I have gone through the extreme pressure. So like, let's say in earlier qualifiers, you mess up your first run. How do you reset? You have one chance to make it. And some of these athletes got into finals on their second run.
You can sometimes see them kind of suck into themselves. And I guess it's that, look, there is one chance. I might as well just leave it all behind. Perhaps there's that side of it as well, where you sort of almost just let it go in that moment. All right, next 2 men are up. Vedrik Leonardo, the current world record holder, is on stage. Yun Yasukawa on the right-hand side from Japan. Now, Vedrik didn't have the best run in Vila, so we're excited to see what he can do here in Chamonix.
He did have that sub 5 in qualifiers.
Yeah, exactly. He was looking good, but then sometimes in finals it doesn't work out for him.
It seems that sub 5 for him is just like a comfortable speed, like if he's pushing enough. That's just blows my mind.
Crazy stuff. All right, here we go. First race for the men. Look at Jun just smiling at the crowd. He's not in his own world. He's taking it all in.
It's interesting to note that some of their practice PBs are faster than this.
Oh, but it's a full start for Vedrik Leonardo. Oh, we said sometimes it doesn't come together for him in the finals.
Oh my goodness!
And it hasn't today.
And that was quite early. Wow.
So for whatever reason, Vedrik not quite locked in. He makes a full start, and it's a big one.
That is incredible for the Japanese, however, since they had some momentum from Ryo Amasa last week. But wow. So no Vedrik continuing. I think his foot did leave just a little too early. Yeah. Those pressure pads are quite sensitive.
Yeah, we've occasionally seen appeals and stuff go against them, but often, yeah, it doesn't lie. When you see the slow motion like that, you watch the momentum start to go a little too soon.
And that's like another thing to note about like the swings. It's volatile.
Absolutely, it's dangerous stuff. All right, Ludovico Fossali on the left, Pierre Rebillon from France on the right.
I believe in finals, Ludovico is the tallest competitor, and so often the conversation is taller better or shorter better. Ludovico clearly shows that you can make it work. He's almost reminiscent of Usain Bolt, where Usain Bolt was criticized. The start was slow, but his acceleration and his end position was extremely fast. And Ludovico, I think you will clearly see when he gets to the top session, he's extended and very, very fast.
All right, there we go. We'll keep an eye out for this.
Good job for Pierre Rebillon. He broke his personal best in qualifiers. French absolutely went crazy.
Yeah, they did when he came on stage. Huge reaction from him, but he has a big task ahead. Right, seconds away now. Ludovico Fossali versus Pierre Rebillon. And it's clean from both men. Good to see. Rebillon falls. Ludovico Fossali will cruise his way upwards with still a 5.48.
Yeah. Ludovico is often praised how good his form is. And so in practice, you will see him not push the craziest times, but he's working his form constantly. So when the time is right during a competition, yeah, in the Italian National Cup, he went 5-0. So he knows how to push when it pushes, and if you have a good form, you'll succeed.
When you say form, go into that a bit more for me. So you're talking about form on the day, sort of the ability to be consistent?
That is part of it, as well as physically on the wall. One of the most obvious things that you can see from an inexperienced speed climber versus experienced is wobbling. Will their hips and shoulder be out of line? And Ludovico, if you read his bib number, you can read it perfectly the whole way. It will never shake. He almost has like a camera stabilization software. He's like on a gimbal, but it's incredible.
Well, things to look out for. We'll see him run properly in a minute. Rishat Kabulin on the left from Kazakhstan, Inchwal Shin.
It's really cool to see the former Olympian come back and really push the limits of what is possible. He has a very interesting sequence at the top. He'll step on hold number 18 on the top part rather than the pinch, which is what everyone else is stepping on. And that was something I noticed yesterday. I was like, oh, did I miss that? No, he wasn't doing that like 4 weeks ago, but he did at Villars.
So he's changed the game up a little bit. It can always be risky, that. So we'll have to see how it goes now with the pressure on. That's the timing pad. 1 foot on that. Clean from both, at the moment Joel is ahead. Look at this, but he has a huge slip, so Rishat Kabulin will just finish things off with a 5.23.
And that's a little bit of a late reaction time, 2:36. So he was definitely running like a 5:1 time. And so that's one of the things that you sort of assume, like if you took off and you gave them the perfect reaction time, will they be running and what was their pace? Yeah.
That was a good run from him. He gets unclipped. He'll go back to the waiting area. And that is the arena. Look how many people are here.
That is beautiful. That is the sight I like to see when it comes to speed. I'm very excited to get back to training. I went through a bit of an injury. I went into septic shock with my elbow a couple weeks ago before I came here. And I haven't been climbing for almost 4 weeks now.
Oh, wow, yeah, well, I was going to say, I wish you the best with that nasty injury. You're sitting next to me with a plaster over your elbow.
Yeah, it's quite bulbous.
Well, I hope you get better from that, mate. Right now, we have John Brosler on the right-hand side, Zhang Guaolong on the left from China. And John, another one you must know fairly well.
Of course, from Dallas, Texas. These two athletes this is going to be a very interesting race because they're doing the exact same sequence, and their movement's quite similar as well. They're a very similar build, and, well, actually, I'd say John is quite huge, but the same heights and sort of style.
Yes, exactly. John, a bit heavier built, but exactly the same height. So
mustache power.
The best mustache in the biz, seriously. All right, John on the right, Zhang Guaolong on the left. It's good from both, absolutely neck and neck. No idea who's winning at this point. It's going to all come down to the jump. Who's going to have it in? It's John Brosler.
Incredible.
With a 5.15.
Yes, he is psyched for that.
That was a brilliant race.
I believe that might be his third or fourth 5.1 he's ran in ever. Yeah.
That didn't come in. He had to fight all the way. He was being pushed. Literally won it in the air.
There's some little antics that a lot of these speed climbers have, and one is John, he'll slap his thighs, and we call it happy slaps whenever he does well. And sometimes they're less so happy slaps, but it's very, very awesome. And this time we get to see the happy slaps, so I'm excited for him.
Yeah, good work from John.
Wow.
This is it. I mean, it was so close, I just gave up calling it in the air. And a 5.1, awesome from him.
He definitely, before the season started, took sort of a risk to change his beta last minute, where he's kind of reluctant on that, and I'm glad it worked out.
Look at the kick from Sam Watson. That's a ritual, isn't it?
Yeah, feel the power of the wall. Sam is very good at keeping things constant and understanding that consistency is key. And so earlier, even in isolation, when I was dropping him off and sort of telling him a story about myself, he was doing breathing exercises, he's understanding what it feels like. So I might be a little bit biased on this race.
All right, well, you can be as biased as you want. Sam Watson on the left, Jin Baolong on the right.
They've met each other in finals many times. So
old rivals then. Here we go. First round of Chamonix. And we have a bit of an epic battle ahead of us here.
Ready?
Good start from both. Sam Watson ahead as we approach the middle point. Still ahead as we come to the upper, but a big slip from both athletes. Jin Bao takes it. Sam slipped, Jin Bao slipped, Jin Bao slipped, Sam slipped, back and forth.
No. Wow. And just like that, it's over.
this is the savagery of this sport.
Yeah.
It's all that training.
I'll be completely honest, my heart just jumped a little bit right there.
Sorry,
heart goes out
Albert.
to Sam.
Yeah, we should make this clear. Albert's one of Sam's coaches, so very personal for Albert in the commentary box. Let's see this again.
He looked very good, and then just out of check. He slightly dry fired.
So he slipped there, slipped again, and then look, Jimbao slipped out of your shot.
Sam's often generally good at saving it and reverting back to an old beta, but that time he was clearly too out of line.
Right, Jimbao moves on, and we move on. Ramat Adi Mulyono on the left, Aspa on the right, sporting blue hair at the moment.
What is your favorite Aspar hair iteration?
I'm a fan of the blonde.
The blonde.
I just like it. It's a statement. I mean, the blue you could barely see, let's be honest. It's good, but it's not great. But the blonde was excellent.
He definitely looked faster, you know?
I think so.
Yeah.
It was streaking up the wall. All right, so Aspa versus Ramad Adi Mulyono on the left.
Great legends of the sport. And he's very adaptable. He's very experienced.
So both off clean and both neck and neck as we approach the midway. Big slip from Aspar means Ramad's going to take this, and he does with a 5.281, still fast. I'm amazed how quick they're going after a big slip like that.
Almost, I didn't notice this before until this camera angle, but Ramad, did you see him shaking on the start?
Yes, the fingers,
Yeah.
yes, I did see that. I was going to ask you, why?
I don't know, maybe he's just so wired that way, he's ready to go whenever he's ready.
It's like his left hand wasn't holding it like a jug, it was tickling it like a crimp. It was very
That's
strange.
incredible. I have not noticed that until now. So, details. Everything's in the details. Wow.
Well, it came together for him. Kept it together, 5.281 after his opponent slipped near the bottom. Two races to go for the men.
One of the things that a lot of climbers talk about the speed route is that, oh, it's all jugs. But when you're going so fast, it's no longer a jug.
Absolutely, yeah. And these guys are running up this wall. Rajitit Nurasama versus Alfian Mohammed on the right. Again, two teammates. And this Indonesian team, I mean, they train together, they live together, they often compete against each other. They're forced to be reckoned with.
I wonder, how much that plays with them. That they've definitely done this race in practice many times before, but so.
I think it must affect you because you know, I mean, if you wanted to play with your opponent in that moment, it's your teammate. You know things. You know, I know speed climbers maybe aren't doing that, but you could.
Yeah.
And it changes the context of it. All right. Namasasa on the right, Mohammed on the right. Good start from both. Mohammed at the moment is ahead as we approach the middle. Nasamsa, though, comes back at the top, and it is going to be Nasamsa. Close to that 5 second mark.
If you factor out some of the reaction time and gave him the perfect reaction time, hypothetically, that was a 4.9. Insane. It's very interesting because he sort of turns quite a bit on the Tomoa skip, whereas like in effect, if you want things to be as accurate as possible, you're in a very neutral position. One of the ways you can think about speed climbing technique is what's the opposite a boulder or lead climber would do? Where a lead climber, you drop knee, you turn your hip towards the wall. No, you want to do the exact opposite. You don't want to turn your knee. You want them to be perfectly straight and parallel. And so that's the easiest way to learn speed climbing. Just do what you wouldn't do lead climbing.
Sounds like my perfect sport.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. Right, Matteo Zaloni on the left, Peng Wu on the right. Our final race for the men before we move to the second round of the women's competition.
Yeah, Matteo Zerloni, I have to praise his accuracy. And in Italy, there's quite a stir with some of the younger generations. I believe they have the youngest sub-6 now. And there's a coach there, Luzic. He's like creating the next generation of Italian speed climbers. And we'll see what they do in the future.
Yeah, he's going to be exciting. Speed climbing has its own Olympic medal now, so all eyes will be on it. Right now, all eyes are on our final race here in Chamonix. Matteo Zaloni on the left, Peng Wu on the right. Good start from both. Peng Wu, though, pulling ahead before a huge slip from Matteo, and a fall means that Peng Wu will take our final race. And you can see the disappointment from Matteo in the air there.
Yeah. There's a degree of volatility when you try to climb very, very accurately, because if you mess up, the margin's a lot smaller. But it's worth the risk because you can get the fastest times. Liang Zhang from the Chinese team, if you watch him, he probably has one of the cleanest forms, but his relies on accuracy so much and a distance away from the wall that it's extremely volatile. You see him slip all the time.
Well, this was the fall. Let's see it in a replay. Matteo A bit of a right foot slip there, and it seemed to just push him towards the top of the wall.
I really wish the best for him because he does so well. He's gone sub 5.
Oh, good work from him.
Yeah, he's gone sub 5 several times in training, and he's capable of being one of the best athletes in the world. It's just, this is his first true IFSC World Cup competition season.
All right, well, we are having a little pause here between the men and women's side of things.
There's a lot of talk about proximity to the wall, whereas again, yeah, and if you're doing slab climbing, you want to be close to the wall and have your hips in. And the same applies to speed climbing, which is very interesting, that a lot of the technique relies on proximity and your body morphology.
Well, if you are just joining us, welcome to Chamonix in France. It's time for the speed athletes to compete. Tonight, it's the speed finals. Tomorrow, it's semi-finals for lead, and then finals for lead in the evening. So a packed weekend of IFSC action. My name is Matt Green. I'm joined by Albert Oak here in the commentary box. Albert, who is a climbing coach, climbing expert, social mediaizer, YouTube creator, everything you can possibly
Trying to do it all. Sometimes I climb myself, I think. I believe so.
Athlete, of course, I forgot as well.
Yeah.
And athlete, next year he will never be near a commentary box again.
Hopefully I will make the team and do the best I can, but I gotta start grinding and get back to training.
Absolutely, man. Well, best of luck with that journey. That is the audience who have filtered in throughout the evening. The sun has dropped below the mountains. Absolutely boiling conditions for the lead climbers who are qualifying, especially later on this afternoon. But that's cooled off now.
I quite like the nod towards Chamonix on the lead wall with the design. It's a unique way to prove that it's the Chamonix lead wall.
Yeah, it's a brand new EP lead wall, that as well, redesigned. Now 20 degrees overhanging at the top rather than 15, so interesting things to come tomorrow. Right now we have our next race. Natalia Kluchka, this is Shakshrin Zhang.
Even on the start beta, we have some micro beta where people will either match the jug or pinch the hold. I'm a proponent of pinching just because I like pinches, but you'll see a little difference here.
Watch those hands then. Natalia with both hands matching. All right, both. Natalia had a big slip down low. Zhang is going to take this, but watch Natalia. She can come back, but this one is too far. Natalia Kluchka gets knocked out.
Wow. You know, I kind of didn't want to call it because you never know, she could still come back. But I think what happens is your balance is just so out of check, it's really hard to restart again. Oftentimes you'll see, I believe like in Jakarta, where like they slip and then they slip again and then slip again. It just happens because your flow is completely gone.
Yeah, it seems to just build on itself.
I have a fun question, maybe a trick question. What is the largest foot on the speed route?
Foothold?
The largest foothold.
I would imagine it's a handhold.
It's going to be interesting. I'm going to give you a very unique answer. It's the floor off the start.
True.
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
And
all right.
so
Very clever.
A lot of my athletes, I tell them, like, you need to jump off the ground. And you can definitely tell that when the holds get smaller, the accuracy is smaller, and the margin of error is so intense.
It's a very interesting point because jumping is half of this game. You are jumping between holds sometimes as well. And Emma Hunt is an expert jumper. She's out next. She will face against Rajiat Salsabilia from Indonesia on the right.
She's sort of giving a tribute to all the old school speed climbers, the old school start. So I believe in it still. Yeah, definitely works with her body type.
All right, next race. Emma does her words to the sky, turns to face the wall.
It'll be a close race.
It's going to be very close. Hard to call this one. Ready? Well, it's very close at the beginning. No slip so far. Emma Hunt, though, a little behind as we enter the top section. Keep an eye on the top. Rajia takes it, beats Emma.
Wow. When she grabbed hold 18, she was a little bit out of check. Oh, very, very, very heartwarming for Rajia, though. You know how much it meant to her.
There was something about Emma Hunt there which never quite seemed settled in that run when I was watching it.
Definitely the top section for her is a little more cramped since she's a taller climber, and so you can kind of see where she loses a little speed, but very, very good effort from both of them.
Let's see this again.
It seemed quite neck and neck.
Yeah, it was very, very close. It was just the top, and then look on the right,
Right here.
explosive. And it was that section Emma was looking down. You just see him a bit out of it at the top.
Although it's so impressive.
All right, next two athletes, they're two French athletes. The crowd is going to be split here. Victoire Andrea, this is Lisson Gautron.
It's always a little bittersweet when you have to go against your own. So I'm sure they train all the time. There was a big training camp in Voiron, France, and they had so many nations there. Speaking of, actually, I think this was a very diverse finals across both the genders. So it's really cool to see a lot of countries participating in the finals.
Yeah, lots of nationalities improving as we approach the World Champs in a couple of weeks. Next race, here we go. That's a good start, Victoire, maybe slightly ahead. Now she will be after that slip from Lisson. Lisson will come back at her, but it won't be enough. Victoire will take victory.
Incredible effort from there.
Seems like every race, nothing is smooth so far. It's like back and forth. It's exciting stuff here.
I think since a lot of the athletes know that this is supposed to be a fast comp, they have a lot of volatility on their performances since they're expecting something. Expectation is something very difficult to manage for speed, and that's a lot of the mental game that I work with the athletes. We're like, there's no expectations, you're just climbing, doesn't matter, you've done this before, it's just another day in practice. But some days the practice feels a little more intense than others.
Do you tend to make practices feel intense? I mean, comp simulation is that thing in speed as well as everything else?
Absolutely. We do this thing called logistic adversity training. So every now and then we make something go wrong. For Sam, one of the fun times we did was he left his bag at the training center and he didn't have his shoes. I was like, okay, put on rentals.
Wow, what was his rental shoe time?
He ran a 5.3.
That's ridiculous.
So
it's just not fair when people have that much talent.
Yeah, it's like, all right, well, I guess you can camp this V12 or run a 5.3 in rental shoes.
Unbelievable. All right, Alexandra Kaluchka on the left versus Nurla Ikma on the right. Final race in the second round for the women.
Let's see if one of the Kaluchka sisters can get through.
Yeah, we expect them to at this point.
So rapid.
Ready?
No full start. Neck and neck at the bottom. We approach the middle of the wall, and now Alexandra starting to pull ahead, but a huge slip from her. Nurul's going to take this. Second, Natalia Kaluchka's sister kicked out. Alexandra, unlucky from her.
Are we commentator cursing right
Yes,
now?
often. Yeah, this is the problem with this job.
I think we're cursing right now. This feels horrible. Maybe I just don't say anything. You know what? One of the athletes will do well.
You can't be that on the fence in here.
Yeah.
One of those races. Again, just back and forth. It happened so quickly, it's hard to call it.
It was so stable until just implosion was over. And it's almost when you're in that driver's seat, you kind of don't know what happens. And until you look at the review, you're like, I swear I was fine, and then it's over.
Well, I mean, you've less than 7 seconds to get it all wrong or all right. You know, there's a huge amount that goes on in that period. All right, well, second round for the women are done. They will get to race again, going into our final and small final in a couple of minutes. We'll have a little pause here before we move on to the second round for the men here in Chamonix. All right, so let's look at some of these times then. So, obviously, Natalia Kaluchka being knocked out straight away, a surprise.
Makes an absolute difference between who's going to have a chance at winning the entire competition. Sort of when you see the heavy hitters like Vedrik even false starting, we have kind of no clue who's going to make it. Like, normally you have some good predictions, but now it's interesting.
Yeah, absolutely wide open here this evening.
Definitely crazy to note on the men's side that this was the fastest comp to get into finals.
Yeah, it was every week we seem to get sent this statistic. It's like the men especially getting faster and faster every single week.
How can you imagine that you need to run a 5.2x?
Madness, isn't it? But it's why I think we're seeing this drop-off at the moment, because the competition has improved, the athletes have improved, and it's kind of who can hang on at the moment.
Yeah, it definitely becomes a little bit more mental, and it definitely plays on different consistency aspects of an athlete.
All right, well, we're minutes away from the second round for the men here. Well, there is the Agua de Midi that's hanging out behind the climbing wall. The darkness starting to descend as our first two men run out. Jun Yasukawa runs onto the stage, literally, So exciting for him. And this is Ludovico Fossali on the right.
The Italian stallion, for sure. You can definitely call him that. Since
Can I? I don't know if I can. I'm glad you did.
yeah. I love when the Japanese express their emotions towards the end of the race. They are extremely passionate about it.
Well, Jun's whole style is so different from most speed climbers. You know, everyone else is in their zone. He's smiling, he's laughing with the crowd.
He loves being here. Always enjoy the process.
It's just fascinating. It's always a ritual, though. If you're smiling, it's a ritual. If not, it's a ritual. They all have them. Here we go, first race. And the rituals work so far. Jun is going to continue. Ludovico Fossali with a big slip down the bottom. Jun takes victory.
There's the celebration. He loves it. Congratulations to him.
Jun Yasukawa moves on. And Ludovico Fossali, big slip down the bottom for him. His evening is finished.
Yeah, he's also a very passionate climber. Even in training, he's very focused and he'll express his emotions. You know, for them, it's everything. It really is everything. You put in months and months of work for it to be gone in 0.2 seconds. It's over.
Well, Jun progresses.
Amazing. I know these holes are extremely textured, and one of the things that happen to speed climbers is their skin is damaged. And normally bouldering, like, the pads get worn out, but it's underneath the nail.
I hear this a lot, that the nails almost come off, and we actually had a nail incident in Salt Lake City. We had a big pause in the broadcast because someone's nail had fallen off. And it just sounded horrible.
Absolutely painful. You'll definitely see a lot of speed climbers sort of using prophylaxis on super glue to seal their nails down, or even when it goes bad, they keep on bleeding, they just put super glue in.
Well, next race, Rishat Kabulin on the left, John Brosler on the right.
This is going to be an interesting race. They'll have different top betas at the top. John will do the extended version, and so you'll see that difference here.
Ready?
No full starts. John Brosler slightly ahead, but look at this from Rishat as he comes back in at the top of the wall. Enormous from Rishat Kabulin. Just found something extra in the final half.
It seems like the 5.0 times for Rishat is very consistent. Unfortunate for John that he was able to miss. He missed one of the holds down low, I believe. It looked like a little dry fire. That's really difficult.
Tough stuff for John Brosler, but at the top.
John has been so close so many times to making it far in competitions, but margin of error is so insane.
All right, well, our next race, the crowd's still enjoying the atmosphere here. Jimbao Long versus Ramad Adi on the right.
I know that you were asking me earlier about like builds for speed climbers. So far, it seems kind of inconclusive because we see a guy like John having success, and then Rishat, who's a lot more wiry, and different heights obviously succeeding. Seems like as long as you are very powerful and in your legs and you have good contact strength in your arms, you're going to succeed in speed climbing.
Well, it's a very interesting point because everyone's body shape's so different here in speed. I'll talk about more after. Next race is underway, and it is. Oh, look at this! Just what a performance for the Indonesian climber, 5.079.
Oh, I'm more surprised we haven't seen a 4 yet because all of these athletes have been running that pace.
So fast for Ramadan. I thought it could be a world record.
I wonder if that's his official PB or like his all-time PB.
It's got to be close, hasn't it?
He was cheering.
That was special from him.
I really hope somebody got a photo of him cheering because he looked cool. He looked like an Air Jordan logo. Yeah. That was definitely one of my most favorite photos when Kiramal broke the record. He just looked so cool with his legs splayed out in the air. He's such a nice individual. Unfortunately, he's suffering an elbow injury, as you can tell that he's taped up, and he wasn't able to make finals this time, but hopefully he'll heal up quick and see him on the wall going fast as always.
It is a long season, and everyone building up for the World Champs as well. You know, if you miss a race in Chamonix, it's less important than that World Champs. All right, Rajita Nomasal on the left of your stage, and then Peng Wu on the right.
I really like Peng Wu, and most of pretty much all the Chinese athlete style is very square. It's very stable. It's incredible what they can do.
You could hear almost a blowout of his mouth there. Good from both athletes. Nomasal is way ahead though. Peng Wu slips down low. Look at the clock, 5.1, another quick one.
Yeah, it's this. I don't know. Every race has been something kind of volatile happening. I don't know what to say. It just seems like anything can happen.
Well, very exciting round in Chamonix once more. What an evening this is turning out to be. The athletes will leave the stage, and then we've got a few things planned, I've heard, for the break between showing the athletes off one last time.
One of the cardinal sins in climbing you might hear is never wear socks with your shoes. But ever since people heard Vedrik is wearing socks.
Yeah, the socks and shoes is always an interesting one, isn't it? And
Yeah.
we have seen it. We're starting to see it more in speed.
Yeah, definitely saves the sweaty feet.
See, now, what we're going to do is just be quiet in this moment because the MC has planned something. There's something planned here, so I'm going to let the MCs do the talking for a while while we wait for our next race. I'll be doing a little bit of a light show. But meanwhile, this is the athletes progressing. Of course, this is the first, or the only time in the finals where they get to climb twice. If they fail at this point, they will either go to the small finals or the finals, where gold and silver or bronze and fourth place will be decided. Checking out the women's results from this evening. Some of Chamonix's iconic peaks in the background as we have a look at the men as well. And it's the times that I can't believe. 5.09, the quickest so far. And right now the lights are dancing in the Chamonix auditorium as everyone is asked to put their phones up.
Oh, that is beautiful. Wow.
Chamonix sparkles under the lights of thousands of phones. Oh, look at that.
Oh, that's classy.
Everyone with their phones raised above their heads. Oh, there we go. The planned light show.
It's very unique. I like it. It's a nice touch.
It, yeah. Well, this is getting us ready for the athletes who will be returning to the stage in a minute to be announced. They'll be backstage nervously. What are they doing back there? Because they're not re-warming up. They're just keeping loose, keeping moving.
Definitely some of them are going through activation exercises. They'll sort of work on their reflexes, or they'll just be like, some of them like will do some reaction test ball games with like that Formula One drivers are doing. Some of them are just like jumping around. They're not getting fully warm, but they're staying warm. And there's a very fine line where you don't want to exert too much energy.
Yeah, and you'll often see them come out at this stage with gloves on as well, even in the hottest of weather. Again, like, why?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, you want to be a little tacky, and then they'll cool off and dry their hands when it's right about the time to go. Crowd goes wild.
Yeah,
congratulations to her.
Yeah, Eric Neuer always comes out in gloves, and they're always bright grey. That's why I noticed them every time.
I want to try the gloves sometime.
Yeah, it seems to be a lot to speed. All these little techniques you can use.
Yeah.
You know, different beta, different methods.
And it's interesting because all these betas that are sort of modern now have been tried in the past, but the right training regimen and knowledge wasn't available back then. So like the Tomoe skip has been tried years ago, and it just wasn't, the holds weren't good enough. And so the holds have been increasing in texture and depth over the years, and this is one of the best hold depths and textures you'll see in the
Because I think a lot of people think, look, the route doesn't change or hasn't changed in however many years, you know, it must be boring. But you're right, because there are little adjustments that are made that changes everything.
And so, yeah, you get some nods to the past, but it seems modern, but it's been around for a while. Even the top beta that all the guys are using has been tried in the past. And I believe I saw a crazy clip from one of the cups in Europe that a guy was trying it. It was like very choppy and unsuccessful. If you saw that now, you'd sort of be like, oh, there's no chance. But he was very innovative, and then eventually, yeah, all these athletes are adopting it.
I wonder if he's sitting in his home going, I told you so.
Yeah, I
no
told
one
you
believed
so.
me.
Man, when I initially saw the beta that the Chinese sort of pioneered in the recent comp circuit, I told everyone, guys, try it, try it, try it. They're like, no, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And look where I'm at
Wow,
now.
well, I've also never seen this. The athletes have been encouraged.
This is new.
This is new. I'm amazed they're all
Wow.
doing it.
When in Chamonix.
And in Chamonix, why not enter the party spirit?
Wow, wow.
Oh, there we go. I think the athletes will now stop clapping and turn their attention back
They're
to
doing
that
a little
wall.
quick observation period, you know, because they don't know the moves
Just in
and
case
the
you've
route.
forgotten,
Yeah. Oh, which hold is which one? Left, right, left. Where do you clip on the route?
Who
I don't
knows, man?
remember.
Who knows?
On the start, on the start. That's the most important thing
Yes,
about
as
speed
long as
climbing.
that's it, you're
Yeah.
okay, right?
Clip in on the start. Yeah. That is the most.
Well, that's the background. You can see the wall there in the middle of town, river running through it, the big mountains on the left where the Vallée Blanche is, and on the right, the Aiguille Rouge. And there's rock climbing, paragliding, biking, skiing, everything you'd ever want here in Chamonix. It is an adventure playground, and right now our playground is competition climbing and speed climbing specifically. And we're nearing the end here, Albert. It's getting towards the medal times.
Wow. I must encourage you, when you come to Salt Lake next time, come join my class. I'll teach you some speed a little bit.
I think I could be good. Like, I like speed, and I've done it more than a few times over the years, and it's so addictive because you set a time and you're like, well, obviously I made a massive mistake there. I
Absolutely.
could shave it off, and then
Yeah.
suddenly you're sucked into a session.
And you're
That's
quite
it.
powerful and strong, so
Oh,
you got
thank
it.
you. That's
Yeah.
very kind. It's very kind of you,
Yeah,
Albert.
yeah.
Thank
I've seen you climb.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Well, I think my professional days will wait. Right now, we'll stick with the professionals. We've had all of the things out of the way now. It's just time to concentrate on the climbing.
It's so difficult and for me to be around at these World Cups because I'm so invested in so many athletes. It's like hard not to be biased. Yeah, I coach so many athletes around the world that they are constantly asking me questions online. So even during the qualifications, I was answering like beta questions, and so I love it. Like, honestly, the greatest thing I've ever done was offer coaching for free online to anybody to make it as
So
accessible
is this
as
still
possible.
a thing? So people listening to this, are they now going to hit up
Yeah,
your
is my
Instagram
phone going to
and,
blow up? I kind of hope so.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd asked to take a cut, but it's for free, so I can't. so.
yeah. You can have all 0 cents of it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah,
Thank you. I'll
yeah.
accept it.
Maybe you can buy not a coffee.
Yeah.
But
Well, we're in France. The coffee's not bad here. Right at the Italian border as well, so the influence comes over here, which is important. All right, well, we are close now. The voice of my ears instructing me that the athletes are waiting, and we're almost ready to go. Okay, here we go. First race, Rajia Salsabila. This is Shaxin Zhang. And this is for a position in either the final or the small final.
you got to imagine that this is probably the most nerve-wracking race. Like, it's do or die.
At this after this moment, you're either going to win a silver medal or you're not. You know, it's that kind of stakes.
I'll have a comment to point about harnesses later. It's going to be an interesting one.
All right, we'll wait for that. So Zhang on the left, Salsabila on the right.
Very focused. Very, very focused.
Ready?
Well, we got a close race and a close beginning, but now Rajia is pulling ahead as we near the top of the wall. She's going to take it. 6.92, just kept it steady throughout.
Yeah, that is class right there. That is consistency and all the training paying off. One of the interesting things about the shoe choices is you'll see quite a diversity. There was initially a very big surge in the 499s, and they, like, you kind of just see different shoes all around, and it's sort of inconclusive what's the best shoe so far. Yeah.
Do you do exhaustive testing on this?
Yeah, definitely look for a shoe that is comfortable and has a thick sole because you wear through your shoe so fast. It's like that's like the biggest money suck that you are going to have to spend in speed climbing. Shoes.
Yeah, kicking the wall is one of those things that just happens, doesn't it, with speed climbing?
I did something experimental. I put Teflon tape on the left toe.
Oh, yeah?
Where normally you'll drag on certain areas. It's been working out. I don't know if it's legal or illegal yet. There's no rule on it.
We'll
but
find out later.
Yeah. Got to use technology.
Exactly, right. Victoire Andrea on the left. You got a massive reaction from the French crowd as she came on. Nora Ikma on the right. Again, gold medal and silver medals.
It is
That's the
difficult
stakes.
to hear, but the proficient athletes are very quiet when they're on the climbing.
Okay.
Sound is energy. Don't waste it.
Ninja feet out there. Here we go. Victoire on the left, Nora on the right.
Ready?
Clean from both women. Nora ahead at the moment. Victoire trying to come back at her, and she does a little as we approach the last sector of the wall. A huge slip means Victoire Andrea is going to be in the final here tonight. The dream goes on.
France is going to go crazy tonight. Oh, wow, I am so happy for her. Hey, it's not over until it's over. You got one more race.
There's one more race, but she's guaranteed a silver in front of her home crowd.
Yeah.
And look at that reaction.
Oh.
How do you take that and now go backstage and try to calm down and win a gold?
It's like you already want to cry. I'm about to cry.
Oh.
Oh, she's so emotional in the best way possible. That was a class act.
Well, she will leave the stage. She's still in shock.
Oh, man, sometimes you just got to ride the high and just enjoy with the moment when you're speed climbing.
Well, I don't think she thought she'd be fighting for a podium tonight. She is now, and she's got a silver or a gold already. That race to come. Noral with a couple of slips throughout, just little moments, and it all came together. There was the first big, she caught the handhold, foothold.
Mm-hmm. You'll definitely, I think the guys, when they come out, you'll start seeing the harness quote that I want to talk about. It's funny because, you know, alpinists are the most traditional version of mountaineering, right?
I think I know what you're talking about.
And they're going to make fun of speed climbing, whatever.
Okay.
And now it's gone full circle. You'll see speed climbers wearing alpine harnesses.
Yeah, I've seen blue ice harnesses out there. There's a lot of very lightweight harnesses that I wouldn't want to fall on.
Exactly.
Not for any danger reason. I just want to make that clear. It's
Yeah.
just they're very thin, can be quite painful. But as you said, you know, lightness, that's the key, isn't it?
It's the lightest harness, and it's allow flexibility. And these athletes are very mobile. They're almost all of them are extremely proficient boulders as well. Like John Brosler, he's climbed like 8B V13. So it's like they're not just speed climbers. They're not grabbing jugs all the time. They know how to crimp. They know how to pull.
Yeah.
And so when they have the right equipment that allows them to move on the wall properly, it's very successful for them.
Yeah, it's interesting, the harness thing. We're starting to see it in lead as well. Like just lighter, smaller and smaller harnesses. And you can see the brand starting to cut down, make almost like a comp-specific harness.
Yeah.
Well, there's a few comp-specific harnesses out there.
Wow, this is going to be an interesting four. So definitely going to be guaranteed Indonesian into the grand final. But, I wish the bracket was a little bit switched, so then you get to have a really big, diverse table. But
Yeah, the teammates will have to face each other again.
Sort of like the old, like sort of school of thought was that you play it sort of safe and you don't go for crazy times. But now you have to go 100% in qualifiers, and you want a good seeding because seeding really matters now, where you'll be able to have a relaxing run or not.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big part of it.
Yeah.
So much stress as well. But the man who's not feeling the stress is Jun Yasukawa, who's on the left. He seems to be smiling his way through. He's against Rishat Kabulin.
All smiles. I'm actually helping a Kazakhstan athlete, Demir. He was in Korea, I believe. Yeah, so I have some connections with him as well.
Jun is having a wonderful time on the left. He smiles at the crowd. He always does that, a little pause before he approaches the wall. All right, here we go. Yun on the left, Rishat on the right. Good start from both. Yun is ahead at this stage, though, and look at Rishat at the top of the wall. He's so much quicker there, and it's a 5.123 for Rishat Kabulin. That top section for him is ridiculous.
Incredible. If you factor in reaction times, Rishat has pretty much ran a sub-5 every time. That is absolutely ridiculous. His consistency is unrivaled now.
Well, he is one of the firm favourites for the gold medal tonight as he steps into the big final, or the grand final, whatever you want to call it. Yun will move into the small final.
That's the Olympian right there, you know, that's Olympian power.
Yeah, and it is coming. As I said earlier, speed has its own medals this year, and it's made a big difference. You can feel the level rise from all the speed climbers after that happened.
At the European Games, they had sort of a test of the format. It was very interesting. It was very volatile. Like they had like a lucky loser, sort of, which I believe it was Ludovico that got through the finals, even though he lost his like bracket race. It's so volatile. It's a little bit hard for me to wrap my head around, but I love it.
Yeah, that was a big competition in Munich this year.
this race will be something. I
Yes,
promise.
Ramad Ali on the left, Mujahati Numasa on the right. Here we go.
Oh wow, they are
At the mount.
primed to
Samsa
go.
on the rest, Molyono on the left. Here we
Good
go.
hairs though as well.
Excellent mullets going on.
Ready?
Molyono with that twitch on his left hand. Doesn't hold him back though. Numasa ahead at the moment, but look at that!
Wow!
Molyono takes it.
That is the first sub-5 race we've ever seen in history.
Unbelievable. 2 times underneath 5
Wow.
seconds. Incredible.
Bittersweet, but like you can't be. You
Imagine losing on a sub-5.
Yeah. It's like you did the best in your entire life, and wow, that is brothers in arms. That is amazing. Sub-5. I've been dreaming of that, and I'm so glad it happened in Chamonix.
There we go, in the commentary box as well.
Yeah. Oh, this was incredible. Yeah, their acceleration through the ladder phase right here. So proficient. Dyno in their top section, pulling through. Wow. And the margin was so close, it was 0.01 or something.
Crazy close. I mean, all the way.
You can definitely notice that they both had decent reaction times. They had like that 0.1x reaction times. One of the things is if you get a good start and you have a good reaction time, it definitely factors in your ability to have speed through the start.
Well, we've seen some pretty incredible things go down tonight. Back and forth races, sub-5 second double times in the men's just now.
That was quite beautiful.
It was poetic. It was wonderful. What a way to almost finish things off. And now we just have the final races to go. 4 races for your entertainment here this evening. And we're looking at the women's speed final. Everything comes down to this.
I think the entire city will turn upside down if Victoire makes it through.
If Victoire takes it, I mean, she's living the fairy tale right now. She came off the stage like she was in a daze. Should have gone back, would have had time to pull it together. And the men's final as well. Risha on fire. Can he be stopped for the final?
This is about to see his consistency. He's been running those sub-5 theoretical times this entire comp, and he is going against someone who just did it. Let's find out. Oh.
All right, well, here we go. The Chamonix logo and the IFSC logo lit up on the wall as the spotlights pick out the stage. Here we go. They're focused on just one place. It's the curtain. We can see it to the left of our commentary box. The audience sitting, enjoying this spectacle, and the lead wall there will be in action tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Central European Time. The semi-finals broadcast starts. Finals taking place later on tomorrow evening.
There's a decent drop in temperature right now, which will be in their favor.
Absolutely, you can feel it. It goes from boiling hot to pretty cool here in the evenings. No storms forecasted, which is good. So hopefully the rain will stay away, which will be nice for a change. I seem to bring the rain everywhere I go.
Oh,
No.
hopefully I brought some sunshine from.
You did, Albert. It's
Thank
been
you.
lovely.
Oh man, this is turning out to be a more intense final than I could ever predict. Who would have expected 2 sub-5s against each other? Yeah.
Yeah,
And
well,
theoretically, it could happen again.
it could.
Yeah.
And a microphone there at the top of the wall, which catches all those shouts and screams and those lights. That apparently the photographers had to specifically request they change the LED frequency on that because they kept missing the shots for the world record. So they literally had to change the frequency to allow them to do it.
The hertz matters.
It does. It really does. I know photographers who have had to Photoshop in the correct score because you miss it on your shot.
This is extremely detail-oriented, but I think, if I'm correct, that there's latency in the wires of the speaker for the beeps.
Okay.
I can just tell because I can feel it in here. I've done it so
Wow.
many times. So that's why you're kind of seeing these reaction times in the 0.2s.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
okay, so it's some kind of a feedback.
Yeah, I can, like, when I'm seeing, I'm like, I think there's a little bit of latency, like a slight latency. So that's something that the event organizers, like, I mean, they should never have to think about that, but yeah, there might be latency along
It's a
cable,
part of
static.
it. Did
but
you notice it in qualifying as well? Or
almost
just tonight?
immediately, almost immediately. I was like, there's something off. Because I've climbed the route thousands of times already, so I know
course.
exactly the timing. And so Maybe that'll be a note that I send to the IFSC.
There we go. Yeah, get the beats right.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. The final, well, small final race first. Xiaoqun Zhang versus Nurul Ikma. Nurul on the right. So China versus Indonesia, two dominant forces within speed climbing, will clash here in the small final. I think this is the worst race. I think to walk away with a bronze or fourth,
it's like you did so much so far, but this is definitely one of the most tense races, emotionally.
All right, here we go. Xiaoqun Zhang on the left, Nurul Ikma on the right. Good start from both women, and it's hard to call at the moment as they approach the middle of the wall. Slight slip from Nurul. It's going to be one at the top. Oh, wow, what happened there? Nurul Ikma found just out of nowhere. I didn't think she had that again.
Incredible. These margins have been the closest I've ever seen.
I want to see that again, because Zhang, to me, looked like she had it in the finals part.
It seemed like she was about a quarter move ahead.
And then suddenly, the problem is your eyes flick between both lanes so quickly, you can just miss that little moment where they start to pull ahead. But let's watch it again in slow motion.
There's definitely something to be said about finishing strong.
That was the explosive start.
Ladder was very neck and neck. Dyno was catched. 11, 12, 13, 14, 16 foot chip. Pull, in the air. Wow.
I mean, that's the jumping thing you were saying earlier.
Yeah.
I mean, you're training them to jump off the ground. You know, the final move is a dyno, and a big one.
Yeah.
All right, men's small final then. Another medal will be decided.
Wow. Yeah, there's a bit of endurance involved in speed climbing, actually. Like, some athletes will gas out towards the top, so we work power endurance drills. We do doubles. We even do suicides. So you'll go like holds 1 to 5, 1 to 10, 1 to 15. It's excruciating, especially if you're doing it at altitude.
Unreal. Well, Yun Yasakawa on the left, Rajeti no Samsa on the right.
This potentially also could be 2 sub-5s.
This could be close. Yun still having a good time.
Yeah.
Right. The Samsa looked down at his coaching team as well, had a word with them before he got going. Someone is screaming at Yun then, hyping him up.
Amazing.
Ready?
Good start from both men. Yun slightly ahead now as we approach the middle. He's going to have to hold it though, and he doesn't hold it. Rajeti takes it.
0.001. No way, and that was a very volatile slip. 0.001.
Yun had it all the way there. He needed to keep it together for the top. He's got his head in his hands, and I don't know what's going on there. If he's just, I think he's just exhausted.
These are the tale of two different athletes. It's so difficult to watch. It's the beauty of the sport and the pain. Amazing.
He takes a bow and he deserves it. That was a bit of a masterclass at the top of the wall there to pull that one back.
That was one of the most incredible comebacks I've seen. Recovery on the speed route is not something you want to train, but it happens.
Well, let's watch it again at the top. He just had to pull it together, hold things together at this point. But look at the comeback from nowhere on the right.
You got to imagine if that was a clean run, that's like sub-5 easily.
Well, he had to find something. He did, and that got him the bronze. And heartbreak for Yun as we move on to the final. Rishat Kabulin versus home crowd. Sorry, no, I'm looking. It's totally, what am I even talking about? Victoire Andre, home crowd favourites. Rajia Salsabilia on the left will take on the might of the crowd, as well as a very informed Victoire.
I believe the entire stadium will explode if this happens.
If it happens, I think they will. They'll cheer her all the way anyway. She wants their support. Rajia has to just keep in her zone, ignore it. She knows about home crowd support. She climbed in Jakarta. She's experienced it the other way. Victoire right now, what a moment for her. The stadium is dead silent here. Good start from both women. Victoire is ahead at the moment, but she hesitates and slips. But she's going to come back. Rajia has to keep it together for the win, and she does. It's a gold medal for her.
Wow, that is incredible. That is incredible.
Rajia Salsabilia takes victory. Victoire gave it everything, but a couple of slips along the way. That fairy tale didn't quite happen, but silver medal is still very special.
Aurelia did teach me a French phrase. She told me to say, "J'adore le français. Merci d'être avec nous." So beautiful. I appreciate it. France has been beautiful to see all these athletes do pretty much the most incredible things that I'll see in climbing. That was a beautiful race.
Oh, there we go. Gold medal decided. Victoire, a couple of slips along the way. Did you see the mosquito buzzing there in the... I noticed it before it got going, but...
Can you call it technical for that?
Well, if the bee incident in Salt Lake didn't, then no. Mosquitoes definitely not. She was ahead all the way. Victoire had a couple of slips. She kept fighting, though. And at the top, another slip for her there. She drops out of the camera frame. It's all about that lady. Adjia takes victory in Chamonix.
Wow. Yeah, it would have been amazing to see in front of the home crowd, but that is the beauty of the sport of speed climbing.
All right, our final race, Albert. Here we go. Rishat Kabulin versus Ramat Molyono.
How amazing would it be to see the 4.8, the elusive? At this point, you really can't call it either one. This guy's been running sub-5 pace the entire comp.
I think Rishat is the... I can't talk. He's the favourite at the moment on his form from what we've seen so far. He just looks on a different level at the top. However, Molyono could do some special things here, so let's find out.
Did just run the sub-5, so you never know.
All to play for. Last race of the evening here in Chamonix.
Ready?
Rishat Kabulin off to the slower start, but he starts the motor at the top. Keep an eye on Molyono. He's going to take it in the air.
Wow.
And a 5.017 versus 5.052. That's as close as you come as well. Two golds for Indonesia.
Oh, that is so precious. He's so happy. He's crying. I'm tearing up right now.
Well, you've got to interview him in a second.
Man.
Pull things together
How
here,
am I supposed to? I'm about to cry in front of the winner right now.
That's all right. Tears are encouraged. What an end.
Amazing. This was an absolute incredible experience to watch.
It really was. Super emotional. You can look, we're directly opposite all the athletes. There's a few tears in the athletes' eyes as well out there. They enjoyed that.
Wow.
Well,
I'm truly speechless. Although I'm going to have to find my words because interviewing these champions is a dream for me.
You are, man. Well, good luck with that in a sec. Stick with me for the time being. The crowd will hopefully hang around. After this, we've got the interviews, the flower ceremony, and then the podiums. That's what's to come. Let's have a look at this last race again.
Wow. Yeah, you can kind of tell Rishat's playing safe on the reaction times. He's been going in the 0.2s, but yeah, wow.
Oh, special stuff in that last race.
All smiles. That's classy.
And that was him when he came down on the ground. Huge moment as the medals are awarded here. All right, so almost podium time. We've got a flower ceremony first coming up. But let's say goodbye to you. Come back and say goodbye after the interviews, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
I'll see you in a bit,
I'll say
Albert.
bye to you in a second.
All right, so Albert leaves to go and interview the winners here this evening. And just to let you know the schedule for the next couple of days, if you didn't catch it earlier on, semi-finals for the men and women tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Central European time, and then the finals in the evening time after that. Exciting day of climbing tomorrow, lots to see, and we've just finished the speed competition. An emotional Albert with me, calling all of the action along the way. Second coach in a couple of comps we've had here in the commentary box. And an athlete as well, of course, part of Team USA and trying hard to get into that national team. But as we've seen tonight, Team USA very strong. Good performances from them. List of names, they get whittled down slowly to arrive. And our medalists and finalists this evening. The lead qualification was earlier on today. We have got a highlights video coming out later on to tell you all the results from that. A big field, the qualifying went on from 9 a.m. all the way up till just past 5 actually here in the stadium. So a big day for the lead athletes. After this we head down to Briançon, a second French competition in a row for him. For us. For that World Championship in Switzerland, in Bern, in a couple of weeks now, beginning of August. So a tantalizing competition schedule ahead of us here. Michel Kabul there with a 5.05. Oh, so close from him. Super consistent throughout. 5.12, 5.09, 5.23. Really on the money in terms of consistency. It was Rishat, but it was going to be a silver medal on the night. Miliono taking victory. 5.01, of course, it's not about the time, it's against your opponent. But time is, of course, the indication of how well they've done. And Yun Yasukawa loving his climbing here this evening. Well, we're ready for our interview, so let's go behind the stage to where Albert has found our winners.
First, I want to say congratulations on this win. I'm sure this means a lot to you. How do you feel?
I'm so happy now, and I'm so proud to be here. And I'm happy because big support from my team, big team in Indonesia, and I'm so excited because it's my first podium, and it's first one first podium for me.
Mm-hmm. And how do you, like, what do you want to do next? Do you want to celebrate tonight, or are you going to think about training?
Maybe for next training too much for next competition and for a qualification Olympiad.
Is there anybody home and in Indonesia you want to thank?
I want to thank you for my family and my coach and a big team and for Indonesian people.
And you'll be at Bern, I presume?
Sorry?
You'll be at Bern?
Oh.
In Bern? Brno? Yeah, World Championship?
Yeah.
Yeah, good luck and tetap semangat.
Yeah, terima kasih. Thank you so much.
Awesome from her. What a performance, and straight back into training. The Indonesians really do live and breathe training. As I said earlier, they live in a hotel complex, and they're very strict on certain rules. And it's certainly paying off, and as we approach the Olympics, it's obviously the foremost thing on their minds. For all of the athletes, in fact, it's been a bit of a chess game this year as athletes pick and choose competitions, trying to get the right points required to move forward, still trying to stay fresh for the World Championships. It's a real game for coaches, athletes, and everyone this year. It's been fascinating. More than halfway through it now. It was like only a second ago we were in Japan in Hachioji, but we're now in Chamonix for the European summer, and the sun has come out, baking the stadium. Well, thank you for joining us. If you have been watching the speed climbing, remember, lead tomorrow morning, Central European time, 10 a.m. Make sure you join us at the finals after that. So thank you for watching. If you are staying with us, we have a couple of interviews to come, and then the podiums after that. Our men's winner has been found. Let's go down to an interview with him.
Thank you very much. I am feeling very, very happy because it's my first gold in World Cup.
Was that your first time under 5 seconds?
Yeah.
Yeah. Even in practice?
No, because after final.
That was incredible. What are you looking forward to next?
Bern is World Championship.
I wish the best of luck for you in Bern, and tetap semangat.
Thank you. Terima kasih.
There we go.
Thank you very much.
Ahmad's taking victory here tonight. So we're a couple of moments away from our podium. Well, Albert has come back to join me here in the commentary box. He's literally run under run under a truck to join me here. So Albert, thank you for running under that truck. Talk to me about our winners. What the vibes were you getting off them?
That was emotional. They were in tears, like trying to compose themselves right before the interview. And I mean, I was about to be in tears as well. I'm probably going to cry later. But
it is interesting what they said about going straight back into training mode. You know, both Indonesian athletes just have that mentality. It's just about the grind right now.
It's always like, what's next? What can you do? One of the things that we always look towards is how can you improve and what can you learn? And those athletes that focus on those processes will succeed the most.
What do you think is making certain teams rise above others at the moment? Because, you know, we talk about China and Indonesia a lot, French team as well coming through. Do you think it's sort of finances and, you know, good gyms, or does mentality just change sometimes within a team?
I would say definitely, yeah, those luxuries do help. But the biggest thing is a cultural impact. And, yeah, like Indonesians in China, they live, eat and breathe speed climbing. And so that's something I'm sort of trying to bring towards USA. And we have the training center in Salt Lake, but we just have that speed wall that I coach at. And I'm trying to get the athletes to come down to Salt Lake and live there and go to the university and sort of create that sort of culture and environment.
Yeah, because success breeds success, doesn't it? And we see this in other disciplines in climbing as well. When, you know, for example, again, the French team have really come on in recent years, and it seems like they're just building on the youth of the team and showing everyone else how it's done.
Yeah, once you sort of see one of your teammates win, it's like, oh, I can do that. I have the ability to. If they can do it, I can do it. But, wow, that is really cool to see a Kazakhstan flag go all the way through the end.
Well, I was talking while you were gone about his consistency. I mean, if we look at these times, so close together.
That is absolutely incredible. He might have had like the greatest consistent set out of anyone, and it's like sort of bittersweet that you don't see him like winning, but yeah, he's definitely a force to be reckoned with in the future.
Yeah, well, our winner, Miliono, is also pretty consistent, including that 4.97, sub-5 in the final.
Yeah. Yeah, I was asking him, is that your first sub-5? He's like, yeah, in competition. It seems like a lot of the athletes have done sub-5 in practice more than you would ever think. Even like Reza's done it in practice. And so doing it in practice is one thing, and doing it on the comp day in an environment where it's high pressure is completely different.
Absolutely, it really is. And it's that mental thing that we always talk about with speed.
Can we take a moment and appreciate how close the 497, 498 is?
Yes, the two Indonesian athletes down the bottom, ridiculously close on time, those two. What a race that was. Well, we'll just take a pause here while the stage is set. I can see the podium on the stage. Our lights are shining in the correct place, so they're just gathering the athletes back.
I already have my phone blowing up with what am I going to do afterwards of this broadcast. It's probably going to go straight to my phone and rewatch it because I want to study the material as much as possible.
There's going to be a lot of people wanting free coaching, Albert. I think you might have let yourself into a world of trouble.
That's okay. I'll help everyone. Yeah, always trying to make it accessible. I want to grow the sport, and I want to be part of that piece of history.
But how much for you now in your life is it about the athletic side, you being an athlete, and how much is it about the coaching side of things?
Recently, it's been a lot more towards the coaching, especially since I've been dealing with injuries. But I'm going to let all the athletes know, hey, it's about time for me to be sub-6, so I'm going to start working very hard in the next couple weeks whenever I'm healed. So we'll see. Sometimes I got to tell the athletes, hey, it's my time to climb.
And where does it all start for you? Like, where does your comeback begin?
I'm hoping within 2 weeks I'll be able to start lifting again and then being able to get on the wall. The big thing I value as a coach and an athlete as well is technique. A lot of the top speed climbers, their technique is more than their strength. Even in other disciplines like bouldering elite, if you have good technique, you can get very far. And that's a sort of the philosophy, because I used to be a bouldering coach before. And if you have good technique, you can sort of compensate with the lack of strength. Yeah, and speed, of course, you do need a baseline. But so I'm going to focus a lot on my technique and trying to improve that. And then sort of see what I can learn and maybe tell the other athletes. Maybe tell you.
Definitely tell me, yes. I'd always need to know all the gossip. All right, well, the athletes started to come on. Well, that's not the athletes, that's the flowers and medals being brought onto the stage.
Maybe they're athletes themselves.
They could be athletes themselves. It is Chamonix, so
there's a good chance.
Yeah, there's a high chance that they're high-performing elite skiers.
They seem like youth athletes. Maybe I need to find the next future speed athlete from them.
Right, Raja Salsabilia takes victory. Victoire Andre takes her silver medal. Nura Ikma, the bronze.
I just want to give them a hug.
Oh, we're pretty close. We can see them from our commentary box position, and they're And a moment has come.
Wow.
Well, stands up. Bronze medal for her. Boy, did she have to fight for that one.
Their uniforms are very concise. I like it. Good colors from Indonesia.
I like it. And I like the Indonesian comp as well. Best food on the circuit. I'm gonna say it.
Have you ever felt one of the medals?
I have actually. And I can't remember where I did it. Very recently. I think it was in Villars. They're heavy.
They're very heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some are, like, there's sometimes different medals in different places, but most of them are the same. And yeah, heavy things.
It's heavier than you expected. I was like, oh, wow.
Turns out solid gold.
Yeah.
Very heavy. Who knew? All right, Victoire will be next.
Wow. Do you think they'll throw the flower bouquets?
It's a lot. What concerns me is it's a long way from stage to audience. I mean, it's a good 15 meters. So, well, not 15. That's a vast exaggeration.
Yeah.
7 or 8 meters, and it's quite far.
How many speed walls is it?
Oh, yeah, half a speed wall. Victoire takes the silver medal. The crowd go crazy. That man has an awesome suit on.
Wow, this is... I want to hear the Chamonix crowd screaming right now.
They went crazy when she stood up there.
Wow, wow, wow. I do notice that I start to tend to measure things in speed walls.
The check flicked the right way there. There we go. Flowers are raised. And finally, our gold medalist will have her moment on top spot. Rajia Salsabila takes victory in Chamonix. You cannot ever take that one away from her.
That's going to be really inspiring for the other Indonesian athletes. Their talent pool runs so deep. It's like they're like 40th climbers, still sub-6.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like, it's insane.
Well, they have that big 4-lane speed wall training facility, don't they, which comes up on social media all the time, especially when we go to Indonesia.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like the French training facility in Voiron is similar. They have counterweight systems. They have 4 lanes. I think IFSC reposted their 4-lane race.
It looked pretty good. I think it was the suggestion, maybe that's the future. Who knows?
Let's have some relay races.
Oh, goodness, Albert, we've gone dark. I always want speed climbing with deep water soloing combined.
I would love that.
Yeah, I think it'd be highly dangerous, but I think it'd be brilliant.
Yeah, I want to see Seco block, but it's the speed.
All right, national anthem time. All right, formalities are done for the women. They get to celebrate. We get to see if they throw those flowers. I just don't think they'll have the reach. I don't know. I'm still up to have a look at it. It's a long way out.
From speed climbing to shot put. Let's see.
Could happen. This is the moment if it will happen. They're discussing it.
Oh.
She's going to go. She can't go backwards, surely. That will... I mean, it's going to limit the throw. She's already dropped something.
No.
This is going terribly wrong. This is the best part of the... Oh, it's a selfie. Oh, thank goodness.
Maybe we need to get the speed timer for them. Beep, beep,
we need something.
beep.
I honestly thought they were going for the back throw.
Yeah,
but it turns out not.
Come on, you have to, surely.
Yeah, it's going to be a special selfie.
That's incredible.
The Chamonix crowd respond to the selfie.
Yeah.
Oh, good to see. The women will leave us.
Is it?
No, we haven't got the flower toss. Oh, there we go. Not from the speed team anyway. You have to come back and watch the lead tomorrow.
Yeah.
So the women are done. They lead the stage. Men's turn.
Men's side coming up.
And we can just see parts of the semi-final wall. They haven't put the rest of the holds on because obviously we don't want to give it away, but you can tantalizingly see some of the route where it's going to go.
I quite love that every year you see new and new holds on the lead routes and the bouldering blocks. And it's quite interesting that like you kind of need hold knowledge these days to be successful in lead and
You
bouldering.
absolutely do. It's something they talk about all the time. Is that occasionally, for example, in Innsbruck, they had the orange holds that the athletes hadn't seen before.
Yeah.
Confuse the heck out of them.
Yeah.
You know, the route setters need it, otherwise the athletes just know what they're doing.
Sort of test
Too
their
quickly.
adaptability.
Yeah, exactly. And just it's a cat and mouse game. It always seems to be.
Something you need in speed too, so you need to be adaptable.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah.
I mean, if you slip and you fall in a weird position, you know, you've got to pull it back and re-find your beta.
The American speed climber Zach Hammer, he's like notorious for the craziest recoveries and comebacks. He just like smears, and it seems like he just invents how to climb it and still makes it to the top. I'm like, how is that possible? Some of these speed climbers are just extraterrestrial, if I were to say in the most polite way.
I completely agree. It's a very polite way of saying it.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. The men are ready. They're behind that curtain. I think they're already beginning. You can see people waving in the lights.
This was a cool, very, very cool podium to watch. Here's the bouquets.
And you're right about the Indonesian team, looking sharp in the double white.
So it's always a fun thing that athletes do. They trade jerseys and jackets. Next year, maybe I'll get one.
Yeah, there's some cool jackets. Two Indonesian athletes and Kazakhstan represented here for the men.
Maybe I need to get a mullet. There's a
Maybe,
trend.
Albert,
There's a
maybe.
trend.
Good suit you. Majito takes the bronze medal. He has got a great mullet.
Yeah. I need to combine all the hair. So like the John Brosler mustache, the mullet, and then I'll dye it.
We're creating a speed climbing monster here.
Yeah.
Or dye it like Aspa.
Yeah, exactly. So I got to do all three, and I'll get the power of all of them. Yeah.
Science here in the commentary box.
I'll keep a smile on my face as well, just like Jun.
Exactly.
Yeah. I love speed climbing so much. I'm always smiling. It just makes me so happy to watch.
All right, well, bronze medal's been given. Next up, Rishat will receive his silver.
Yes.
Right, he stood for a long time with his head down, but smiled when he stood up there.
I'm not particularly sure on the history, but this might be the first Kazakhstan podium.
Could be. I'll have to check that
I
one
have to
for
triple
you.
check that, but yeah.
I'll have to go back in the history books.
Yeah. I know, well, I mean, there was that combined event I think Rishat did well at, but just like an independent speed comp, I think this might be the first. I might be wrong, but either way, amazing for Kazakhstan.
It's certainly been a while, and it's good to have them back.
The medal matches his outfit. That's awesome.
Exactly the same colour, yeah. All right, well, last colour to give out. It's a gold medal. Muhammad Malyono will take this. Says thank you to the crowd as he stands on the top spot.
I told both of the athletes, tetap semangat, which in Indonesian is keep spirit. Yeah.
I was wondering what you said. Have you spent a lot of time in Indonesia or just with the athletes?
Just with the athletes, and I try to talk, and Sam taught me a little bit because he was studying it for a while so he can communicate with them. But that's sort of been a sort of phrase that I keep with myself. Keep spirit. You know, it makes sense. Just
It's
keep
a nice
spirit.
phrase, yeah.
Always.
Yeah, Sam is he's a star out there.
Yeah.
With the
They
Indonesian
all
speed
know who he
fans.
is.
Yeah.
Have you got a Sam Watson wristband?
You know what? I actually don't, and I can't remember why I don't. 'Cause his dad tried to give me one the other day, but I walked away from the conversation without one. So I need one.
I will solicit and give one to you.
Please do.
Yeah.
All right, national anthem time. Well, the national anthem of Indonesia finishes its last sounds, a sound we've heard often here in the stadium. And it's time to say goodbye to speed until the World Champs.
Wow, it's going to be a long time, and I'm going to be itching to watch more speed content.
Well, absolutely. Well, we have much more content coming from the IFSC over the weekend. Tomorrow, women's and men's semi-finals take place at 10 a.m. Central European time. And then in the evening, we move on to the finals. Just 8 athletes for the men, 8 athletes for the women will progress. It's going to be tense on that lead wall, so do join us for all of the action. So, Albert, thank you so much for joining me here this evening.
Thank you so much for having me, Matt. I got to go catch a flight pretty soon and get back to Salt Lake to coach the youth nationals.
All right, well, best of luck with the injury and good luck with next season. See you soon.
Thank you.
Well, thank you to everyone else who was watching. We will be back tomorrow with more IFSC climbing action.